Hey everyone, today I want to do a small tutorial about how to make a Paper Mario style game in Godot since one of you asked for it, and I think it's something interesting. So here I have a basic scene where I have this player character, which is just this capsule, and it has the basic script for movement in Godot, and if we play, yeah, it's just a capsule moving. Now what we want to do here, the goal is to add a 2D character that we can animate, we can move, we can do the 2D workflow with this 3D character. So first off, let's just save our player scene, and now instead of having this capsule mesh, I'm going to delete it, and then we're going to add a Sprite 3D. So that's the first step. And I'm going to add a gradient texture, a gradient 2D texture, and here we can actually already test the size of the texture that we want. We can just do 100 by 100. I think that's the perfect fitting size. Now, the thing that we want to do, I have here the spring arm, which has our camera on it. There's two ways to go about this. We can either do a script, which automatically rotates our sprite to face the camera, or we can just manually rotate it. There's another option, which is making the sprite 2D a billboard, but the thing that happens here is that the shadows aren't perfect. There's a little bit of a glitch or a bug with that. I don't know if it's only with my distro, but I prefer just to rotate the sprite instead of using it as a billboard. Here, let's make -45, and let's make our billboard also with the same rotation, -45. There we go. Now the other thing is we have to almost match the end of our sprite 3D with the end of our capsule so that it seems like the character is on the floor. Now if we play, you see there's a little bit of clipping there, right? We have to move it a little bit up. Alright, that seems pretty okay. One thing I have to check here is if we're casting shadows. Okay, I figured out the problem. So we have to do two things here. First off, we have to uncheck this transparent flag. Since our Sprite 3D won't be transparent, it will have an alpha cutout though, but it won't be transparent itself. And then we have to check on this shaded so that it receives light, it receives shadows, and it looks like it's on the actual 3D environment. Now in play mode we can see there's a shadow right there. Okay, so now we're going to add a Subview Port. So the Subview Port, what it does, it's basically a sub tree within the game tree, and this allows us to render it onto a texture and then use the texture with our Sprite 3D, and that's exactly what we want to do. So here we're going to add a node 2D as a child of the Subview Port, and we're going to call this our 2D model, for example, and we're going to save this as a separate scene. First off, we're going to set the size of the viewport to 100 by 100 pixels. Right, now here, what I like to do is I'm going to add a reference rect. I'm going to set its size to also 100 by 100 pixels, and just I'm going to put the border width with 5 pixels. Right, so this just lets me know this is the size that we have to work with. If you go here and we click on our Subview Port, we can see the outline here. And don't worry, this is editor only, so in runtime it won't be like this. And one thing already that we can see here is that the background isn't transparent. So just check the transparent BG flag and it's transparent. Now what we can do here is actually build our character. Yay! And then in our player character, we can see that here it's rendering our 2D character onto the Subview Port, and now we have to set a new texture for our Sprite 3D. We're going to use a viewport texture, and then we select our Subview Port node. And there we go. That's literally it. It's working. So now in play mode, you can see that it is working. One thing though is we have to select our alpha cutout. Oh, okay. So yeah, we can select the transparent, or we should select the transparent one. Here on the alpha cutout, we have to put opaque prepass. And now, yeah, we can see that our character is with the alpha cutout and it's casting the shadow correctly. Right, so now we have to at least do something with the 2D workflow. So let's add a skeleton. And now let's animate this. And in-game, you can see that our character 2D is being animated within our Sprite 3D, and also that the shadows are casting properly. We can see there the shadow of the hat. Let's just do one more thing. So we're going to add a animation for walking, and it's going to be very Paper Mario style. Okay, here we have our walk animation. And now we have to play this whenever our player is walking. So we're going here to the script, and we're going to export the animation player. Alright, and here what we're going to do is we're going to play the idle animation if velocity.length is 0 prox exactly. So if our player is almost still, we're going to play the idle, else we're going to play the walk animation. And we're going to transition maybe 0.05 in our player scene. We're going to have to turn on the edible children flag in our 2D model. We can assign it to our script. Let's just check if our Sprite 2D has the correct reference to the Subview Port. Something here that is happening to me a lot, and I'm not quite sure if this is an Ubuntu problem or if this could also happen in your builds, is that this viewport path, when saving scripts, sometimes it resets to the root of the scene, so to the player node, and then our Sprite 3D is emptying in-game, but here in the editor it seems correct. And to fix this, you just have to check if the viewport path is the Subview Port node. Alright, 0.1 might be more forgiving. Let's see in-game. Yeah, here's our walking animation, and then it transitions into the idle one. Yeah, this is the basic workflow to have a 2D character, Paper Mario style, into a 3D game within Godot.